All right, so here's the roller out of my 535 John Deere. It's the drive roller. It's the one that's got the rubber on it. I'm gonna have to get this one worked on, get some rubber put on it here pretty soon. But for right now, I've got hay down. I've got to get it back together. So what happened is it broke. To fix this, what I'm going to do is I put some Schedule 40 pipe in here. I found the size that was just enough where you had to drive it in there. You want it to be really tight. Made some holes here. I've already welded on these. And I'm going to drive this together and then weld it. See if this will work. Okay. I'd highly recommend you do this on concrete. You know, good flat surface. That way you don't get it out of true. Best way to do it would be on a big lathe, but I don't have one here, so this is what we're going to do. As you weld it, of course, each side, when you weld on this side, it's going to pull just like this. Weld on this side, it's going to pull it back together just like that. So you're going to have to really watch whenever you're welding it. Make sure it stays as true as it can. Doing it this way, you're never going to get it completely true, and that's just how it is. But take your time. It's easier to do it here when it's out, and when you get it in the baler and see that it's off kilter, then you know it's going to have issues, and you may want to pull it back out and work on it. But I'm going to, as I weld on it, just spot welds, I'm going to roll it back and forth and get just as true as I can. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start welding on it, and I'll take another video after I get done. We'll roll it around a little bit, see what it looks like. It is going to be kind of off because this rubber is not going to equal that rubber over there because it's not a new roller, of course. But anyway, you can get these sent off and have new rubber put on them. That's what needs to be done with this one, but I don't have time to wait for that. Also, I would recommend, as soon as you pull this out, take your grinder and mark right and left on the roller. That way you won't forget which way it goes inside the baler, because I've done that before. All right, what I'm doing here is took the grinder and I've ground this down into a V. So I want to get down to that Schedule 40 pipe. You see it right there. It's best to clean up that Schedule 40 where you know it's going to combine beforehand. Anyway, V that out just like that, and you'll run a kind of a cooler pass with your welder down through here just on that Schedule 40. Make sure you get some good penetration on it. Run you a few beads and then turn it up a little bit. I'd say about 10, 12 more volts, and then you start landing with this. You know, that's what it'll look like once you get going on that. Thought I'd make another video here in case some folks need to know how to put these things back together. Of course, if you're just taking it apart, it'll be the opposite of this. So, of course, you'll take this locking pin out. You'll have, mine has one shim right here. All right, and behind this cog, which goes to your string tie and your belt, behind my cog has about 7 to 8 shims. All right, now that's behind this cog. Come over here. Here's the roller. It's back in the baler. Mine had shims between this roller and the new bearing back there. Okay, I think it had about 6 shims back in there behind or between this roller and that bearing. All right, so whenever you're taking this out, make sure you're really watching in there because there may be some shims. The roller comes out of this baler this way. All right, it goes out the left way. So when it comes to equipment, left and right is if you're sitting on the tractor and you're sitting in the seat. That's how you dignify which is left and right. All right. So watch the shims back there. Here's the welds. Then you'll come over here. So here's the roller back in the baler. Of course, there's the shims I'm talking about. That's what shims look like, for the folks that don't know. Always take your parts off and lay them down in a line, just like I had those. See, they're laid in a line. I've got some more in the barn over there that came off this, laid out. Right here's your plate. This plate comes off, and this roller slides right out of that round portion right there. It'll slide right out once you take that other portion out back there. You'll take that belt cog off. You'll take the linch pin out of it, and this cog will slide out to you. All right. So I'll put this right here back on this plate. There's some bolts here. You just put that plate back on, and then right here is where your bearing mounts up. It's got those bolts. They'll be right here, and then your new bearing, it'll mount right to those bolts. Of course, you just bolt it down. Really easy. You will have to take this one off to get that plate off, to get your roller out. It goes right here. All right. Mine, I had to do a little welding on it and build it back up. But you'll put it all back together. I'll shoot the video here whenever I get it back together. So the sockets you'll need are a 15 and an 18. That's two sockets you'll need. Pretty straightforward, actually really easy, not a whole lot of tools. Of course, you'll need some pliers to get those linch pins out. That's what the linch pin looks like that I'm talking about. So I'll get this all put back together, and I'll shoot another video. All right, it's the next morning. I'm down here, getting the baler back together. So whenever you take this chain off right here, make sure you take this master link out. You can look around. It'll be a link. It has a clip just like that on it. Right here. You'll take that clip off. You'll pull this link off, and this right here will just slide out. Whenever you're putting it back together, don't try to put it in a bind and turn the rollers to walk the chain up on it, because you'll snap that link. So be sure you take this out. Okay. For some reason, this link here, focus, I had to grind a little bit of that off because these legs, whatever you want to call them, weren't long enough to get the clip on. So you can do that. Take a grinder, just take a little bit off, maybe like a thou, and slap her on there. I actually had to take a little bit more off that length than I thought, but I went ahead and took a flap disc and took a little bit off of each side of it, not to weaken one part more than any of the others. So that's that chain on. Got the master link in, clicked in. Now here's your other big chain. It's gonna drive the roller that broke. You'll just take and pull this together, and it's self-explanatory. Pull those links together, then slide your master link in, and you'll be ready to go. Here's the baler back together. Everything's looking pretty good. Tell with the camera, but that roller's actually pretty true. Not really any movement. Everything's looking good. Running smooth. Honestly, I believe it's going to be okay. Of course, I've got to bale some hay and see about it. But I'm feeling pretty good about the repair. So, hope this helps you. I'm feeling pretty good about this repair. So, you don't want to spend $3,000 on a roller. You're in a bind. Rain's coming, trying to get your hay up. Now you have to do this. I still plan on buying a new drive roller later on, but I just don't have the time right now to get it. Thanks for watching.